young man I'm seeing at the newspaper is an agnostic.
An agnostic? I've never even heard of that church. What does he believe?
Well, he believes, well, he's not quite sure there is a God. He's just not sure, but he's very nice. And he went to school in England. He reads a lot, just like you.
Well, if you like moving, I'm sure I will. Lily, what about the Catholics?
What about that?
Are they all right, too?
Yes, they're all right, too.
Oh, God. I always thought it was so sad that Mrs. Sawatsky was going straight to hell after having all those children. Lily, what do you remember most about him?
Serve the Lord with fear. With trembling kiss his feet, lest he be angry and you perish. For his wrath is quickly kindled. There was always so much wrath.
I'll always remember looking to see if his work boots were by the kitchen door. That meant he was home, and I'd get that frightened feeling in my stomach. Lily, did you ever think he was going to die? I didn't. The horse died on its feet on the hottest day of summer. Chippy and Rex crept up and died. I was scared Mother would die in the yard with a load of wet laundry in her arms and that look on her face, and I'd be left alone with him. I shouldn't have said that.
You can't help the way you feel. Let's not talk about it anymore.
Lily, does this mean I'm free now?
Free.
Free? Free to sing in the house, push bees around on my plate, screw up my cake.
All of those things. And Mother will be 60 miles away with Uncle George and not worrying over your soul any longer.
Thank heaven.
I'm going to take care of you now. We'll get a nice bright room in the West End with elm trees out front. We'll go to picture shows and tea rooms and libraries. And you can meet my newspaper friends and join my suffrage club.
Your what?
My suffrage club. Oh, you'll learn about that soon enough.
Do you think I'll fit in?
Of course you will. You're going to love the city.
Do you think so?
I do, and furthermore, the city will love you. Oh, Fanny, you're a brick.
I do not want to pull through life like a thread that has no knot. I want to leave something behind when I go, some small legacy of truth, some word that will shine in a dark place. What word? What word? I want that word to be...
Warm!
Did Isabel pay our rent this month?
Maybe they think they can get rid of us by freezing us to death. I would start the other way, Nellie.
With the alarm clock. You don't think McNair will call me a drippy tap in need of a wash?
Well, it would not be as bad as when he said you rattled on like an old tin can.
Or the time I squeaked along like a set of rusty bagpipes.
But nothing. We'll talk the time he called Isabel as useless as a button on a hat.
Or the perils of public speaking.
You won't believe this fellow, Fanny.
Who is he? Oh, he's a watch on the nose of progress. He's a loose nut in a machine trying to go forward.
He's the editor of the Rural Review. We won't be much longer, Fanny. Anyway, I believe the alarm clock in. It's an idea that strikes people right between the eyes.
You're right. I'll leave it in. Your sister gives me my best ideas, yet never gets any of the credit.
Nor any of the abuse. It suits me fine.
Every time I see you, Francis, I seem to be working on some silly speech. There's more to life than that. I haven't even had a chance to get to know you. I want you to come and sit here and tell me all about yourself.
There's nothing to tell.
Don't be shy, Fanny. She devours every book she can get her hands on. She knows more about newspapers than I do after 4 years at the Free Press. You've got lots to tell.
Well, I grew up on a farm.
So did I. We've already got something in common. When I was a girl, I loved to read books too, but I was always the first one yanked out of school to herd the cows. Oh, I would tear around from one field to another, chasing cows and hating every one of them.
I felt exactly the same way.
Did you?
Yes, but they had to be moved or they'd eat through all the grass.
I know they had to be moved, but I couldn't understand why I had to chase them all the time. It was always Nellie that had to do it, never my brothers.
But they had to go to school so they could handle the affairs of the farm.
But she wanted to go to school too. She wanted to learn to read.
I wanted to learn how to read more than I wanted to sing in heaven.
But what was the point if you were just going to get married?
I was going to be a mother and a wife. Wasn't I most important of all? Didn't I have to be a light, a beacon?
With a husband and all those children in her care.
Oh, just imagine, Fanny, imagine how wonderful it would have been if your mother had read Tennyson before you fell asleep at night. Willows whiten, aspens quiver, little breezes dusk and shiver through the wave that runs forever by the island in the river, flowing down to Camelot. 4 gray walls and 4 gray towers overlook a space of flowers, and the silent isle embowers the Lady of Shalott.
That was beautiful. I always wanted to write just like you and Lily. I thought if I could write things down, they'd be clear to everyone. All the things I felt inside, I would be clear to everyone, and I wouldn't feel so alone.
Did you ever try?
Yes, but I didn't really have anything to say.
Oh, don't ever say that, Frances, not ever. Any woman with a mind, a pair of eyes, and a heart already has more than it takes to write for any newspaper in this country.
Oh, Nellie!
Oh, that's a good line. I have to use that somewhere.
It sounds so easy.
Oh, it isn't easy, but it's worth the effort, isn't it, Lill?
Well, that depends. If you ask me before or after my editor has torn apart my story.
Details. But the point is, we women have finally got a chance to write for one another now. Do you agree?
I agree.
Good. Frances, we're not chasing cows anymore. We've got no one to blame but ourselves for not doing what we want. Do you understand? Good. Which leads us back to the problem at hand, my speech for tomorrow night. You're coming, aren't you?
Oh yes, I'll be there.
Good. And I'm a disturber. Disturbers are never popular. Nobody likes an alarm clock in action, no matter how grateful they are later for its services. But I've decided I'm going to keep on being a disturber. I'm not going to pull through life like a thread that has no knot. I want to leave something behind when I go, some small legacy of truth, some word that will shine in a dark place. And I want that word to be democracy. Democracy for women. Because I'm a firm believer in women, in their ability to see things, and to feel things, and to improve things. I believe it is women who set the standards for the world, and it is up to us, the women of Canada, to set those standards high. Maybe I'm sort of a dreamer, maybe I'm sort of naive, but I look at my little girls and boys, and I think I want a different world for them than the one I was born into. I look at them and my heart cries out when I see them slowly turn towards the roles the world has carved for them. My girls, a life of cooking and sewing, servicing the needs of men, and the boys, scrapping and competing in the playground and right up into the corridors of government, or worse, the battlefields. I want them to have a choice about their lives. We mothers are going to fight for the rights for our little girls to think and to dream and to speak out. We will refuse to bear and rear sons to be shot at in faraway battlefields. Women need the vote to bring about a better, more equitable, peaceful society, and we're going to get it!
You were superb.
Oh, yes. Was I loud enough?
Oh, excruciatingly.
Why, Mr. McNair? Why, I thought I saw a bit of tartan in the crowd. I hope you found my speech enlightening.
Oh, it's always interesting to hear a woman speak in public. It's sort of like seeing a pony walking on its hind legs. Clever, even if not natural.
Well, I hope this time you'll manage to spell my name correctly. There are 2 C's. It's McClung, not McLung.
It's a pity. I thought that was a rather good play on words.
Let's go and find Isabel to see what she found. Help yourself to some lemonade, Fanny. I won't be long.
At least I can be assured of a little refreshment at these events. It saves the evening from being a complete waste.
I thought her speech was wonderful.
She rattles along like an old tin can. And she repeats herself. She said the same thing at the Walker Theater last week.
It sounded spontaneous to me.
Well, that's a knack she's got.
Well, why did you come a second time if you thought so little of the first?
I'm a reporter. I never give up hope.
A reporter?
The name's McNair. George McNair.
The editor of the Rural Review.
That's correct. Does your husband take the review?
I'm not married, but if I were, I'm sure he would, since it's the best farm paper this side of Kingston.
What's in Kingston?
The Advocate, of course.
The Advocate. It's a rag.
I disagree.
It's a liberal propaganda sheet. And they're weak on markets.
And you're weak on crop summaries.
You don't say. May I be so bold as to ask your name?
Frances Bainin. Frances Marion Bainin.
Ah, I see. You're the one who writes for the Free Press.
No, that's my sister, Lillian. She was the one with Mrs. McClung. They're very good friends.
Well, she's not a bad little writer.
Oh, Lily's very good. But don't you think her paper's soft? Soft on facts, soft on the truth, soft on banks, soft on the railways.
But hard on farmers.
And even harder on suffragists.
Oh. You're one of those, are you?
Yes, I guess I am.
Well, I'd better go write this up.
Oh, I'm curious, Mr. McNair. Why did you send your women's editor tonight?
Couldn't. She went and, passed away.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, she was over 70. She wouldn't have taken to this type of event much either. Anyway, she's history, and I'm stuck without a living soul to attend these interminable meetings.
Well, perhaps you might think of hiring someone with more modern ideas.
Easier said than done, little miss.
Well, perhaps you might think of hiring me.
You. Hiring you. I don't even know you.
Sir, I come from a farm, and I am a woman. I know all about bed bugs and wood ticks and runny eyes and chicks and cracked tits on milkers and cakes without eggs, and how to avoid the minister's visit.
I'm sure you do.
My grammar's good. Lily taught me how to type, and I wouldn't wallow in sentimentality like the last one. No offense, ma'am.
Miss Bainin, you're making a speech. It's unwomanly.
It's not unwomanly, Mr. McNair. It's 1912. And I was simply trying to interest you in my qualifications.
Well, perhaps you should try to interest me in the cold light of day. Shall we say 9 o'clock tomorrow morning? Mind you're not late.
No.
And don't forget to bring your lunch.
I think I've got myself a job. To the women of the Rural Review, it is my great pleasure to begin my new task as editor of the Homemakers page. I have lived on a western farm myself, and when I was a girl, rode the calves home from the pasture and chased the wild geese off the wheat fields back of the granary. In my mind's eye, I can still see my mother standing alone against faraway fields her skirts blowing away with the wind, looking for a rare visitor to come down the road. I now know that she was only one of thousands of lonely women of the prairies, far from neighbors, far from towns, far from doctors. Within this page, I hope you will be able to get closer to one another. I hope you will begin to see this as your page, where you can write and think and dream and rage and, in every way, help one another. The page is now yours. Frances Marion Bailey.
Dear Miss Bainin, this is my first letter to your homemaker's page. Though I've had talks galore with you up here, I live on the prairie with not many neighbors, but I'm really not at all lonely. I had a serious operation last May, and then a few weeks after that, our little house and everything in it burnt down. But through the midst of it all, we were blessed with another little baby, our 8th. So, life is never dull. Please send me a copy of your little booklet, How to Tell the Truth to Children. It is comforting to know that children can be told the truth and still retain the cleanness of thought and purity we wish for them. I've enclosed 5 cents postage. My husband says, what a rigmarole letter, though I cannot write in a hurry, so please forgive. Yours sincerely, Sunbeam.
Dear Miss Bainin, I got something to say to your reader, Tightwad's wife. I've had 3 husbands, and I think you've got to have 3 husbands before you'll get your fair average. My first was terrible fat. My second, terrible thin. Men run that way, always one thing or another. Either terrible drinkers or no drink at all. Either terrible tempers or no temper at all. Some as cheap as pig dirt. Others with an open hand. Don't see how us women folks stands them. Men's upses and downses has wore me out. And my third husband, he was just plain average. He just wasn't one thing or another. He was just so ordinary, I couldn't stand him any longer. And I forced him. So to you, lady, I say, it's only after you've had 3 husbands that you know what you really want. And that's no husband at all. Always yours, Chucklehead.
After they're boiled soft.
I am 5 months pregnant, and I had a terrible time lacing my corset good and tight. Any suggestions?
That's your department, Nell.
Tell her to throw her corset in the closet. That's what I've done. Otherwise, our children will grow up with a terror of small rooms.
Is there any way to lengthen the life of my stocking?
Tell her to rub paraffin on their soles.
What is the best color of paint to go with oatmeal wallpaper?
Either bone or brown.
Do I have any information on how to keep baby chicks in the dark?
For heaven's sakes, Frances, you don't have to answer everything. Give that one to the hen department in the paper.
There is no hen department. I don't know how I'd answer all of these without...
Well, we wouldn't want you to lose your job.
Don't worry, Fanny. You'll be able to answer stuff like this in your sleep in no time.
Well, I've got better things to do. Let's stop now and
There's
practice.
just one more. Would anyone be so kind as to tell me how to clean feathers? I have an owl, and I would be very pleased if I could clean it.
An owl? Is it a dead owl?
What would anyone want with a dead owl?
I have an owl, is all she wrote.
Maybe she wants to clean it out and then cook it.
Cook an owl? How disgusting.
No, it must be a dead owl if she's interested in its feathers. It's probably been sitting on her mantelpiece for years, and the feathers are dirty.
Yeah, cornstarch then. How would you cook an owl anyway?
Probably like a duck.
But there wouldn't be much to it, would there?
Well, maybe she has a
Nell. You might shake it loose.
That'd be so terrible.
Nellie!
Well, I've had 4 already. How many does a modern woman need? My Jack is already 15. How about you and Vernon?
I would like 3. But Vernon thinks it would interrupt his concentration.
I think Vernon concentrates far too much. How about you, Francis?
No one will even want to marry me.
Don't be silly. Come here and I'll show you how to do this. This is an interpretive dance. You just let your body move in whatever way you feel. It's very naughty. I saw it at the Palladium last time we were in London. Oh, they go mad for dancing over there. If the British suffragists can do it, then so can we. Imagine you're a swan. I feel like a prairie chicken. Close your eyes. It'll help you forget about yourself. Now stick out your hips, Fanny. Farther.
McNair can see me now. He thinks it's queer for a woman to speak in public.
What's he going to think when he sees us doing an interpretive dance at the Press Club Christmas party?
Maybe he'll go back to Glasgow where he belongs, working for some reactionary tabloid. He's a Scotch thistle, bristling for a fight. And you know, he drinks.
Don't be too hard on McNair. Fanny doesn't mind him. She told me that under all that bluster is a good heart.
Well, his mind skids when it comes to suffrage, and he drinks.
You already said that. I think your mind skids when it comes to McNair.
He's not that bad now.
What's good about him?
Well, he wears plaid earmuffs to work all mornings. Sometimes during the day I can hear him in his office humming Bonnie Dundee.
Francis, you've taken a shine to him. He's almost old enough to be your father.
No, I haven't.
And why are you blushing?
Because I feel preposterous doing this dance.
You're doing fine. Here, let me fix your scarf.
I think she's going to miss you when you marry Vernon, who will do up her buttons and make her hair look nice.
She can look after herself.
Well, now that we've got warts and matching wallpaper out of the way, we can get her to work on the larger issues. Tomorrow, you can come along to the Women for Peace Committee. We've started a world disarmament campaign, and then we'll drop in on the Christian temperance meeting. We can always use new recruits, Francis. It's always the same old girls and everything.
I'd love to come.
Oh, good. All right, now let's all 3 of us try it together from the top.
Let's see what you got on your page. This one. We have too long been contented with the kind of motherhood that can turn its back on mere children, toiling incredible hours in factories, making bullets and ammunition and uniforms for some faraway war, and yet calmly say, "Thank God it's not my children." What we need now is a new spirit of national motherhood, and someone who can write shorter sentences. National motherhood. National mother. You make it sound like the railway, Miss Bailey.
I quite liked that expression.
Is it yours?
Well,
It sounds like something off of Mrs. McClung's bat. You seem to have an opinion about everything lately. National motherhood, intemperate husbands, the German war machine, the profession of parenthood, the Boy Scout movement, and suffrage ad nauseum. But I found myself wondering, what happened to your columns on mothers and babies? Ginger snaps and peonies. What about the little crocheted sweaters for the wee ones? What about those things? They're important too.
do you think they are more important than freedom from cruel husbands and fathers? From hypocritical ministers? From warmongering politicians?
Don't bludgeon me with adjectives, just say what you mean.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, the things that you mention will always be with us. But Scotch broth and shortbread and a garden full of bluebells just make it a bit more tolerable. My mother knew that. She would never have bothered herself with voting and chasing men out of bars.
Was she happy?
Happy? I don't know. She seemed content. She smiled a lot.
You mean she just put up with it?
the point is, she had enough to do in the home, and you'd be wise to keep that in mind.
If you think that women belong in the home, why did you hire me?
Because I had no choice. What self-respecting man would want to write about women's things? Unfortunately, you don't seem interested in writing about them either.
Mr. McNair, are you not finding my work satisfactory?
Did I say that?
You imply that.
I do not. I think that the suffrage question is interesting, but you take it much too far. Mrs. McClung need only pen one of her silly little verses, and it somehow finds its way into your editorials.
Nellie McClung is at the forefront of the suffrage cause.
She is a dilettante and a debutante, and a hypocrite. She's an upper-class snob who wouldn't have given my poor mother the time of day.
That's not true. Mrs. McClung is fighting for the vote for women.
For women who don't need the vote. For women who've got something better than the vote. Influence. And furthermore, the proper lineage.
No.
No? Then tell me why your suffrage club list is full of names like Stewart, Titheridge, Ward, Galbraith, and Gordon, and not Lewick, Shapansky, or Schwartz.
Well, maybe their husbands won't let them come.
They're not there because your suffrage club doesn't want them there. Neither do they want them living next to them on Chestnut Street, nor their children sitting beside theirs at school.
Mr. McNair, I believe in democracy for all women. I do.
Then you're in the minority. Your friend Isabel Graham has gone on record saying she's afraid the entire Western Hemisphere is sinking under the weight of the immigrants.
Isabel has a blind spot.
And Laura McLaughlin, another one of your leading lights, is heading up the fight to eliminate any foreign language in the school year.
Well, that's because Laura thinks it's important that newcomers learn English.
No, that's because she hates the very idea of them.
I admit, there are some members who don't feel comfortable with all the strangers in our midst, but that will change. It takes time to alter attitudes. It takes time to remove the walls of class and privilege and ethnic
Don't start
differences.
that again. The fact is, the suffragists are an exclusive club, and you would do well to stay away from them.
I find it curious, Mr. McNair, how you suddenly spring to the defense of foreign women, when in the year that I've known you, you've never shown interest in any woman having the vote, whether their name was Gordon or Shapansky. I'm beginning to think that you just enjoy muddying the waters.
I enjoy arguing with you. You argue like a man,
I'm not.
and I'm glad you're not.
I believe in democracy for women, all women, and I'm going to keep fighting for it.
Don't get so flustered. It's not that important, is it?
Mr. McNair, let me try to explain something to you. When I was a child on the farm, I was always asking questions. Did God ever change his mind? Why was he angry all the time? Why couldn't I talk to the Polish children on the next farm, and why didn't Father help them like the other neighbors? But nobody seemed to want to answer my questions. There seemed to be this secret fraternity at work that I didn't understand. My father, the minister, and later my teachers thrashed and sermonized and ridiculed me until my spirit shrank, and I began to doubt my very words.
Doesn't seem to have been a lasting affliction. You seem to have quite an unswerving confidence now.
And I don't. I still cower at the voice of authority. Even now I tense up as you, my editor, come into the room. Do you understand?
Yes, I think so. Still not sure what it has to do with suffrage.
Oh, but it's all connected. When I came to the city, I met women fighting for the right to think and to worship and to question for themselves. Women who challenge authority, who look it right in the eye and say, prove you're worthy of respect. I felt like I'd been let out of prison. I felt like a great gleam of light had broken through the fog, and I didn't feel so alone anymore.
You're a funny one. You remind me of the little birds I used to find trapped in a house when I was a child. My mother would make me catch them and let them go free outside. And whenever I caught them, I could feel their little hearts beating in my hand. And I wanted to tell them not to be afraid, that I wasn't going to hurt them. You're like one of those little birds, Miss Baker. Now, I understand you live alone since your sister married. Perhaps you might be needing someone to look in on you once in a while.
I'd like that, very much.
Good then. I will do that. It's time you associated with someone who still holds womanhood sacred.
No, I don't need anyone to hold womanhood sacred. I hold womanhood sacred myself. I do.
Well, you hold it at quite a distance. It might help your cause if you applied some rouge to your cheeks occasionally. Good day, Miss Payne. I'll let you get back to National Mother.
Men say that women have enough to do in their homes without worrying about going to the polling station. I've been doing some thinking about this. Prairie women have been trapped too long inside the home, lonely and dependent from the day they wed till the day they die. And yet, aren't we as necessary to the prairie society as the sun and the rain are to the fields? Don't we deserve to be seen as whole people with the same rights and responsibilities as the men we work beside? That's why I want the vote. Because a vote is like being given a voice when before we were silent. It's like being set free after years of captivity. In the end, isn't that what we're really talking about? Freedom? I think so. But I've talked long enough. Please write and tell us what freedom means to you. F.M.B.
Dear Miss Bainan, some go to the Bible for proof that women should not have the freedom to vote. But I can see nothing in there to convince me a woman has no interest outside her home. The very fact that God placed Eve outside in his big garden and not inside the four walls of a kitchen ought to prove she was intended to be a companion to her husband and to see and understand whatever interests him. I have to thank you and your sister Lily and Nellie McClung for all the wonderful work you're doing in elevating women to their rightful place as queen of the home. Sincerely, Western Sister. P.S. Could any of the readers tell me how to get rust out of a white dress?
Dear Miss Bainan, freedom for me would be a public restroom in town, a place where a woman could go after a long trip in from the country. Please work on that. Sunflower.
Dear Miss Bainan, I agree with you that freedom would come with getting the vote. If women had it sooner, there wouldn't be so many laws on the books which are a disgrace to civilization, not to mention humanity.
Dear Miss Bainan, I am 31 years old, the mother of 7 children. The eldest, 11 years, the youngest, 8 months. I would like to have any information I could get about birth control. That would be freedom for me.
Dear Miss Bainan, with all this talk of women's freedom, maybe there's something you're forgetting, and that's the foreigners. Haven't we enough trouble with them over there without letting them think they can run this country too? Can we bear dilution by the ignorance, low idealism, and religious perversities of the average foreigner? I say no. We must keep them back. Give us good sound British stock women, already civilized, already subject to both earth and heaven for conduct. Wolf Willow.
I have to take exception to a recent view from Wolf Willow on immigrants within our country. It seems tragic to me, the number of people who, without being able to give a single reason, instinctively hate or fear or distrust any person who is not from the same race or religion as themselves. What is the harm in being different? Is anyone who is original in their thinking really so frightening? If our country of Canada is going to achieve
its potential as a great nation, we must begin to recognize the contributions of people from all lands who decide to make it their home. For my part, I would say the real foreigners are not those who have been raised in different countries, but those whose standards and ideals of life are so immovable as to not allow for communication with others. It's beautiful, Emily.
You mean that?
Yes, I do. I knew you'd put your heart and mind to work and come out with something that rang absolutely true. She's quite a girl, isn't she now?
At least she doesn't come to us for advice on hens anymore.
Is that all you've got to say?
Do you like it now?
I'm surprised McNair let you run such an idealistic little piece.
Well, he said he thought it was sort of hopeful.
Well, it is hopeful, and I'm proud of you. Nell, aren't you?
She's a quick learner.
Nellie, do you like it?
Like it? Oh, I think the sentiments are admirable, but I wonder if it takes everything into account.
What do you mean?
Such as what's going on in Europe right now. Some of the countries where these foreigners hail from are rattling their sabers against Britain even as we speak. People are frightened. God only knows what will happen over there. That's all, Fanny.
Well, I think we should go and have an ice cream to celebrate her efforts.
You two go along. I've got work to finish.
Good afternoon, Mr. McNair.
Good afternoon, Miss Bain. I hope I'm not disturbing you.
No, not at all. Won't you come in?
I guess you're wondering why I dropped a note about visiting today.
I thought perhaps you were in the neighborhood.
Not exactly. This is a letter I've received from a group of your readers in Minnesota. It seems they take exception to your column on the foreign question.
I thought it was the most heartfelt thing I'd ever written.
It was mercifully short of adjectives.
It sounds as if they hate me.
Not you, Miss Bain, just what you're saying.
Perhaps I was a bit outspoken. Even Nellie seemed cool when she read it.
Did you believe in what you wrote?
Yes.
Well then,
They're asking for my resignation. That's why you've come, isn't it?
I wouldn't be much of an editor if I could be intimidated by bigots such as these. I follow a hardy little gleam myself, called the freedom of the press. You're doing a good job, Miss Bain. Now, I'm not saying I agree with everything you write. Believe me, I don't. I'm not a big reformer, as you know. But as long as you write with fairness and reason and punctuation, I'll back you. I came to tell you that.
But what about this?
Forget about that letter. Your column obviously struck a chord in some of your readers, and they didn't like the sound of it. But that's not your problem.
Except that I have this frightened feeling in my stomach that I haven't felt since I was a child.
If you want to be liked by everyone, you are in the wrong line of work.
Well, perhaps I am.
Don't say that. You'll grow a thicker skin with time. Look at me.
Is that what that is?
I think you're a fighter. And when the occasion arises, you'll come out strong.
Thank you. I hope you're right. Could you stay a while and have some tea?
That would be lovely, Miss Bain.
Please call me Frances.
All right, Francis. And please, call me McNair. Now, how does one occupy one's time when not fighting for women's rights?
Well, I've been known to go to some concerts in the park and even some plays. Lily and I have been to every tea room in the city. Sometimes her husband Vernon takes us out to the country in his roadster.
Well, perhaps some afternoon you might enjoy a trip out to Winnipeg Beach. I hear it's a popular spot with the fashionable crowd, though being seen with me would perhaps be not quite so fashionable.
I would be delighted to be seen with you.
Perhaps sometime the two of us could go to church. Or did the fierce God of the Methodists scare you off altogether?
No, I've made my own truce with God. In fact, I met him once in the corner of the pasture.
Did you?
I'd gone out before a storm to find the cows. I remember looking all around and seeing nothing but a few shacks between me and the snake of fire wiggled down the sky, followed by a crash of thunder. Then I felt a breeze stir my hair, and I felt as though I was riding on the wings of a bird. I knew God had passed by in that breeze because, for a moment, I wasn't afraid of anything. Not my father, not the minister, or doing compositions, or Lily's boards, or anything at all.
I don't know whether you're a heathen or not, but you breathe a clean, wholesome look upon life. My mother would have liked you, Francis. Perhaps getting that letter wasn't so unpleasant after all. It's given us a chance to... What trumpery is this?
That's my sash for the parade.
Your sash?
Yes, we're all wearing them for effect.
Surely, Francis, you're not going to make a spectacle of yourself like that.
That all depends on what one calls a spectacle.
I call an army of matrons marching down Main Street in orange sashes a spectacle. My God, don't have the whole city staring gape-mouthed at you. Laughing and hooting and hollering. It's outrageous.
Now, wait a minute.
A whole generation of women being turned upside down. Turned into shrill, opinionated harpies when they should be at home, having lots of good, strong children.
Like a bunch of good breeding hogs.
There's nothing wrong with good breeding, and there's not enough of it happening anymore. Instead, we're being swamped by a bunch of immigrants who don't even know God save the King. And none of you ladies even seem to care that we'll be at war in a month, and there will be real armies marching down Main Street.
Of course we care. But we can't just drop suffrage because a bunch of countries can't settle their differences.
You're a babe in the woods.
And you're unspeakable. You're everything that people say about you.
Well, if what you mean is that I don't delude myself and I'm not a dreamer, I suppose you're right.
Well, I am a dreamer. And I believe changes are coming, wonderful changes that will allow us all to live in freedom. Those days are coming, but we have to fight for them.
There is something very wrong with you. I would not permit my wife, if I had one, to carry on the way that you do.
And I would certainly not permit my husband, if I had one, to substitute his conscience for mine. Good day, McNair.
All right, sisters, you have your instructions for the parade. Afterwards, we're invited to Government House for tea and sandwiches with the Premier and the Mayor of Winnipeg. You look beautiful out there. We've come a long way, sisters. The day has finally arrived where we've beaten back the bigotry which says that men are better than women. This day strikes a blow for social equality.
Oh, I am thankful to be living in these fighting days when there's so much waiting to be done that we don't have time to sit and feel sorry for ourselves. When humanity is seething and boiling and stirring with 1,000 conflicting interests which, in the end, will work themselves out for the final good of the race. And we women have just begun to dabble our fingertips in this great, eddying stream of life. The Christmas edition of the review will have to go out this year without a Christmas editorial on the women's page. Vainly, I have tried to call up the old Jubilee spirit of Christmas, without success. To observe this great celebration while Christian Europe is busy contradicting its teachings, peace, honor, goodwill to men, seems almost sacrilege. The pen writes haltingly and unconvincingly convincingly upon the subject and finally stumbles and stops altogether.
We took bones last night. It's astonishing how many ways there are of being injured. We learned that anything ending in itis is an inflammation. First aid is a rude sort of thing. You just grab an old gent's cane or a umbrella for splints and a lady's clothing for bandages. Carrie Markham says she just knows she'll be wearing her best and precious lingerie when she'll have to tear it into shreds for some poor private. And then we did drowning with a real man to demonstrate. In one method, you have to hold the tongue of the drownee out with a handkerchief. The tongue is a rather slippery member. Sometimes you have to put a needle.
Lily, what are you talking about?
My first aid class?
The war is 3,000 miles away. Why are you taking first aid?
It's good to be prepared.
Prepared for what?
Prepared in case we have to do our bit.
Oh, are you off to France to save men drowning on the battlefield?
Of course not.
Is the conflict going to spread to Canada?
That's not the point.
Then what is the point of these endless first aid classes? To me, it all seems daft.
Everything seems daft to you lately, even what I'm doing.
That's because you're doing the strangest things. Where are you going?
I shouldn't have come. I thought maybe we could talk about... Just talk, but you're being... Oh, I'm
Sorry, Lily. Please don't go. I need to talk to you.
all right, then. You start.
Lily, do you remember when Ned Stone's father came back from the Boer War? He said he saw British soldiers rounding up women and children and putting them in convents. He said he saw them dying like flies. I walked home across the field, trying to imagine people dying like flies. You and Mother and Mrs. Gregory and the Hawking girls. Lily, that's what's happening over there. Last month, 100,000 men died in one day.
I know. I read the paper.
Well, Lily, what do you really think of the war?
I don't want to think about it.
Why not?
It gives me a headache.
Oh, well, that's a small price to pay compared to some.
Where you go again?
Well, I'm sorry. It's just, I see those boys on the parade ground. They're almost too young to shave, yet there they are, marching around, waving their bayonets, making funny noises, jumping to attention. It all seems so pointless.
How can you say that? They're fighting for democracy, so that you and I can live in freedom. Isn't that what they're fighting for?
So they say. I heard Vernon speak last night at the Labor Temple. I thought you'd be there.
I couldn't miss my class.
Oh, couldn't pass up splints and tourniquets to hear your husband speak out against the war?
I know what he said. He gave me a private rendition last night when he came home. The British peers on part of the armaments plants in Germany. The first guns captured from the Germans were made in England. The only people who will win the war will be the munitions makers. Conscription is a violent attack against the rights of the individual. And it makes sense. And I believe him, but I just don't know how to put it all together. What Vernon's saying, what others are saying. It would be a lot easier if he wasn't giving public lectures.
Lily, Vernon has a right to speak in public.
Except that half the paper won't talk to him now, and the copy editor checks my stories twice before they go to press. He assumes I think like Vernon.
Well, don't you?
Well, yes.
Well, then you've got to stand up for him, Lily. It was you who always fought for people's right to express themselves. The issue here is freedom.
But I thought it was freedom that we're fighting for over there. Well, whatever it is, there are millions of young men going out and fighting for it. How can they all be wrong?
But how can you be free by killing people? Or being afraid that somebody's going to kill you?
I can see why Father hated your questions.
I'm not out of time to be quiet, Lily. My God, even McNair's not put away to buy this flag-waving hysteria. He's got his teeth into warcraft and profiteering.
Well, that's fine for him. He's too old to have to worry about it.
What do you mean?
Conscription is coming, Benny.
Lily, is that what you're worried about? Vernon wouldn't go, would he?
No, he's a pacifist.
Well, that's good, isn't it?
I suppose.
You don't sound happy.
I am. It's just that if he won't go, does that make him a coward?
Do you think he's a coward?
No, but I think if Vernon won't go, what about Nellie's Jack? He enlisted the day he turned 18.
I hate this.
to think anymore, Fanny. I'm trying not to think. That's why I'm taking these silly classes from women in red, white, and blue dresses. I have to do something.
I know, Lily. That's McNair. He's early. I'll be right back.
Lill, hope I'm not interrupting something. I can come back later.
No, please don't leave on my account. I'm all right now.
I just thought I'd peruse the papers in pleasant company before we went to the party. Just, pretend I'm not here. Here, this will cheer you up. The Boer War has brought us the khaki brown and the moppish scout hats, and just as we were feeling at home in these somber shades, war was declared in the Balkans. And that has brought us, blessedly, I might add, those pretty peasant waists and rich, bright-hued embroideries of the southern climes. Let's hope we never go to war with the Eskimos. Fantastic mind behind that report.
Why would that cheer us up?
Well, at least neither of you is responsible for it. Now listen to this. The patriotism of those war manufacturers who are skinning kin and country with their faulty gear and second-rate boots is the kind that should be recognized by a coat of tar and feathers. But instead, they'll probably get a title. My God, that man can write.
Who wrote it?
I did.
Oh, you're a ray of sunshine on a cloudy day, McNair. Well, I'm going home to get ready now.
Well, see you later then.
We'll see you soon.
You've got a bee in your bonnet.
Would you ever think of fighting in the war?
It's a bit late in the day for me to enlist.
But if you weren't too old, would you even consider it?
I suppose I would.
Why?
Why? Because it's getting bloody hard to stay out of it. If you're of age and not in uniform, women look at you as if you're not quite complete. And the men simply hate you.
Why is that? What business is it of theirs? It's your life.
Am I coming in at the tail end of an argument?
Yes. Yes, you are. I'm sorry.
If I were younger, I would go to war, Francis. I have a responsibility to fight for the freedom of my country.
What does that really mean?
Well, it means to protect our homes, our loved ones, our women. Men are supposed to sacrifice their lives for women. Haven't you noticed? Since the war started, I haven't heard a peep from your women for peacekeeping. Why do you think that is?
They're knitting socks and rolling bandages.
But why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because when it comes right down to it, women need protection, and they know it. At least most of them do. And that's why they swoon into the arms of the first waiting soldier.
Why do you say things like that to me?
I can't resist. Your cheeks color up in such a pretty way.
Well, I'm tired of knitting socks. It's time to do something.
All right. Put on your coat. We'll go to the party.
I'm serious.
You've taken some pot shots at the Patriotic Fund. You're always haranguing us about the treatment of foreigners. My editorial's got the ball rolling on the investigation into rotten boots. I think we're doing our bit by keeping the war honest.
McNair, I remember my first column on the war. We women will keep our purpose clear. True democracy. And with our purpose, transport our men, our country, through these troubled waters of war. I saw womanhood as this great unsinkable ship that would buoy everyone up.
It's an admirable image.
Except that it was wrong. We thought we were sailing the vessel of freedom, but there seems to be 1,000 others out there with the same claim. How can freedom take so many forms? I don't know what to think anymore. Lily's on the verge of tears all the time. Nellie is a flag-waving patriot. We've got the vote now, but we're too anxious. We're terrified to figure out what to do with it. The letters I get are filled with war and loss and fear and...
And while you're at it, you're the worst of all. You're constantly brooding over every war report, as if you could learn something new by counting up the stacks of dead.
You're right. I am the worst of all, and I feel so utterly useless.
Come here and sit with me. You can't do anything more than you're already doing. War is always hard on high school.
That's a fine remark.
It's meant by way of I know it's hard on her.
And not on you. In your heart, you believe this war is right, don't you?
Of course it's not right. War is never right. But God Almighty, woman, it's Christmas Eve. Can't you just be content to watch the candles flicker and the snowflakes fall? Do you have to notice every tragic face, every heinous act? Why can't you just notice me?
I'm sorry, McNair. I do notice you all the time. I do.
Well then, why don't you try to imagine a little house with a garden full of bluebells and a trellis, and a little baby in your arms, a little pal. That's what I do. It makes me feel better.
You're such a romantic.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. Except, why do you always picture me in a garden with a baby? Do you think I'd be happy just doing that if I stopped thinking altogether?
Well, give it a try. Just put your wee mind to it. Just little pink and white gurgling bundles, tiny fingers.
How unfair that men can't give birth. You would be such a perfect mother.
The world is too unfair.
From the carefree sisters of the typewriter and the interrogation mark, Nellie McClung, with our assistance, will perform her musical rendition of her much-loved poem, Let's Pretend.
Let's pretend the skies are blue. Let's pretend the world is new. And the birds of hope are singing all the day, all the day. Short of gladness, learn to fake it. Long on sadness, go and shake it. Life is only what you make it anyway. Let's pretend the skies are blue. Let's pretend the world is new. There is wisdom without end in the game of let's pretend. Play the game of let's pretend.
Frothy little delight, I must say.
A rare compliment.
As rare as your rhymes.
Shall I pour lemonade?
Thank you, dear. There will be no bickering tonight, and no talk of the war. Is that clear? This is a Christmas party.
I'll drink to that.
You would.
Where's your better half tonight, Nell?
At a patriotic drive.
And yours, Lill?
At an anti-conscription rally.
Well, thank God some of us are doing something irresponsible tonight. I heard a funny story the other day. In the spring, they're going to build a roof garden on the legislative building to supply fresh-cut flowers to the politicians.
Oh, the cabinet ministers can go and take air on their roof farm.
It will be quite inspiring to see Premier Norris in overalls doing his agricultural duty.
There's a new play I want to see at the Walker.
What's it called?
It's called The Guns of... We'll talk about it another time.
I hear Sadie Bond's expecting.
That didn't take long.
I think that's called war risk insurance.
More lemonade, Lill?
Thank you.
I don't hear much about suffrage now that you got the vote. I guess you can't blame every social ilm in Manitoba on your political disability any longer.
Well, we still haven't got the federal vote, but it's coming.
Yes, so I hear. But when it does, you'll find the privilege as empty as last year's bird's nest.
We'll see.
You'll end up choosing between two scoundrels, one not much better than the other. I've often felt when I vote that I'm not exercising much more political influence than the horses that haul me to the polling station.
Nor probably much more intelligence.
You're being rude now.
And you're being patronizing. You're both being
Themselves.
Simply telling your friend not to feel bad that she hasn't turned the world around.
We closed the bars.
Aye, that you did. Deprived many a young lad one last good belt before heading off to the slaughter.
Don't talk like that about our boys.
Please, don't fight, you two.
Would have done them no harm. The odd nip. You should try it yourself sometime.
The music is starting up. Why don't we dance?
You're disgusting.
And you are a hypocrite,
I am not.
aren't you? Then tell us why you told the Prime Minister to exclude foreign women from the upcoming federal election. So much for women's suffrage.
That's not true.
No,
I read it in the Free Press.
You didn't tell me.
there wasn't enough time. He was only in town for a couple of hours.
But you could have called.
Well, I didn't, and it's done. McNair likes to sensationalize. I simply suggested excluding the foreign women as a temporary war measure. A war measure? It's not a new idea. Let's not ruin our evening.
McNair, will you dance with me? I need some time to clear my head.
There was a speech you made once about leaving a word behind to shine in a dark place. It was years ago. Do you remember?
There have been so many, they kind of float together.
It was at the William Avenue Library. It was a summer night. Lily and I had walked there from our suite on Arlington. I smelled lilacs. The man next door was out watering his lawn, his wife sitting on the veranda watching, rocking. You said that night, I want to leave some word behind to shine in a dark place, and I want that word to be democracy.
You have a good memory.
I was so moved by that statement, I would have jumped off a cliff that night if you'd asked me.
You've been a hard worker.
I don't understand anything anymore now.
How, Francis, there was a reason for this. I suggested excluding the foreign women only until the war is over.
But what does the war have to do with it?
Francis, there are districts where almost every single English-speaking man has enlisted. The moral tone of the electorate has drastically changed.
The moral tone?
The only way to protect our traditions is to limit the vote to empire women.
But don't the foreign women have the same traditions? Peace, love, equality. How can you turn your back on them if you truly believe in women?
It's not that simple. The foreign community doesn't view conscription favorably.
Oh, I see. How efficient of you. If one does not view conscription favorably, then lop off their vote, or their head, whichever is easiest.
Oh, you make me tired, Francis. You were a raw, green girl from the country when I first met you. Too scared to open your mouth without your sister's prompting. It was Lily and I who brought you out, who filled you with every ideal you have today. And you dare to stand there and question me on what's right and wrong.
This is wrong. What you are doing is a total contradiction.
Don't talk to me about contradictions. You have no right. You have nothing to lose in this war. You know nothing of the pain and the nausea I feel when I read the casualty lists. You moon around over that drunken Tory who'd rather have a woman strapped to the seat than marching in a suffrage parade
women for peace. Now stop it. Was that just another phrase that rolled off your tongue?
Wendy, don't talk like
Did you
this.
ever really think we could stop war or change anything at all? Of course I did. I do.
Stop this.
Francis, calm down.
Why are you all trying to shut me up?
There's nothing anyone can do about the war now. Germany has declared war on Britain. We couldn't have stayed out of it. We have a responsibility to the mother country.
But don't we have a responsibility to our children? To build a peaceful world for them? Isn't that what we always believed now?
I believe that freedom still has to be paid for. It's like a farm that has to be kept up. Another installment of the debt has fallen due. That's what I believe. There is a private in the Princess Pats who carries my picture in his cap, Francis. There are times when the doubter is intolerable.
When a coincidence of engagements brought Sir Robert Borden and Mrs. Nellie L. McClung to Winnipeg together recently, McClung made use of the opportunity to ask the Prime Minister to grant federal franchise to all British and Canadian born women, excluding the foreign women. In this, Mrs. McClung was speaking for herself alone and not for the organized women of the suffrage provinces. I hope that the majority of women who fought and won the suffrage fight on the ground that democracy is right still believe in democracy. Personally, if I had a religious faith or a political conviction which wouldn't stand the test of a great crisis and which had to be discarded whenever an emergency arose, I would rise up and take it out and bury it in a nice deep grave and pray that it had no resurrection day. For my part, I still believe in democracy just as invincibly today as I did in the yesterday of my own political minority. And if a serious attempt is made to exclude these new women citizens from the franchise, my tongue and pen will do their little best by way of protest. FMB.
Dear Miss Fainin, you say that Mrs. McClung was speaking for herself alone, but I say her instincts as a patriot told her the right thing. My husband Jake and our 3 sons are in the war now, and they're all of voting age. Yet their voices won't be heard. The foreign women have their husbands safe and sound by their side, and we all envy them. They may think differently, and they may not. But how can we know for sure? So I think perhaps we should not take the chance. Sincerely, Lonely at Home.
Dear Miss Fainin, I think Lonely at Home should have 5 votes, not just 1. 1 for herself, and 4 more for the manhood that she has sent off to war. And I say more power to Mrs. McClung's elbow. You say you believe in democracy. Well, democracy means government by the people. And in this crisis, I say British people. Shall our men go to fight the Hun across the sea while their country is turned over by a foreign power? 1,000 times no! Fiercely, Wolf Willow.
Vernon took the 2 big suitcases when he left last week. I've got my bag. I guess that's everything. That's all. I guess.
I thought you would look. Carl Sandberg.
Thank you.
Have you eaten? They probably won't serve lunch until 1.
I just had breakfast. I couldn't eat another thing.
I made you some cookies to have with tea.
Thank you.
Did you write to Mother to give her your new address in New York?
No. Could you do that, Fanny? Fanny, please.
What should I tell her?
I tell her Vernon's been offered a good job in New York and couldn't pass it up. Do you think she'd believe that? Tell her I'm going to be the new editor of the New York Times.
Oh, I don't know what to tell her.
Why not tell her the truth? That Vernon walked onto the floor of the legislature to shake hands with the only politician with enough courage to write an anti-conscription speech.
Don't tell her that.
And for that, he was fired. So you decided to move to a country where democracy still means something.
Oh, I should have done it myself.
Hello, Francis. Lily, I wanted to say goodbye.
Oh, I'm glad you came.
Here's a book for the train.
Kipling, Fanny brought me Sandberg.
Have you had anything to eat? It takes forever for them to serve lunch. Here's some biscuits.
Fanny brought me cookies. The two of you will have me rolling off the train in New York. Well, here we are. The carefree sisters of the typewriter and the interrogation mark. Any parting shots?
I still don't know the difference between baking soda and baking powder. I'm going to send all the hard questions to you.
I'll never forgive Vernon for taking you away.
It's not Vernon's fault now. No one will hire him here now. At least in New York, he can write about what he believes.
He can make a mockery of what our boys are fighting for. That's not what he's doing.
Please, please, let's not talk about Vernon. Let's talk about ourselves. Can we? I feel so helpless right now. It used to be we'd talk about love and sisterhood. Now all we talk about is death and destruction. Will you take care of Fanny while I'm gone now?
Of course I will.
I'll be fine on my own.
You're very hard on people, Francis. When the war is over, we'll get the suffrage issue straightened out, and there will be a vote for everyone, believe me. Just like we've always dreamed when the war is over.
Have you got everything done?
I've got to go. I've got 2 meetings before lunch. It never ends. Write big, long letters. Goodbye, Lily.
She was apologizing to you, and you wouldn't accept it. I understand how Nellie feels. She supports the war because her son is fighting in it. She has no choice, but that's no reason to turn your back on her, your best friend, your teacher, just because she didn't meet your high standards. How arrogant you are.
But she gave up her dream.
No, she didn't. She just lost sight of it for a while. It happens to all of us, and it will happen to you. You'll marry McNair and have children. And you won't be so eager to pick up a banner or lead a parade. You'll shift your zeal and compassion to those you love. And the dream won't seem so crystal clear anymore.
If that's the price of love, Lily, I'm not sure I can pay it. I want to be free. I don't know what more to say than that.
Fanny, you're never really free. You can break the Declaration of Independence every day and you won't be free. We're bound by our affections, more than any legal contracts or governments or causes. We're all trapped by something. The heart doesn't choose wisely, it just chooses.
Please don't go. I don't know what I'll do without you.
I've got to. It's time.
I love you, Lily.
You're a brick.
I've got 4 typewriters now. Mine, Lily's, 2 of Vernon's. None of them work very well. Have you ever been to New York?
I landed there when I first came over. I read a different paper every day for 2 weeks and never found the same opinion twice. Don't worry, Francis. Lily and Vernon will find work.
I guess so. McNair, do you think I'm hard on people?
Oh, very. You're like a terrier worrying a bone.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's because you've got a vision of the world that's clearer than most.
And why do I feel so frightened all the time? Frightened that I'm wrong or that I'm right. That I'm not doing enough or I'm doing too much. That I'll
You're just tired, Francis. And you miss Lily. Why don't you open your mail? It'll put the fight back into you.
Dear Miss Bayman, I say hooray for boarding and conscription. Let's round up those slackers hanging around city pool rooms and get them into uniform. The time has come to send more than socks and tobacco to our heroes in the fighting line. What we need is men, men, and more men. Western Sister.
Dear Western Sister, it is easy for us to be brave with other people's lives. I don't believe in their hearts that the people of Canada want compulsory enlistment. Let's have a referendum and ask Canadians whether they want conscription.
Dear Miss Bayman, referendum? Referendum now? For 3 years, our boys have fought for us and our cause. Referendum now? While our enemy prepares destruction of our battered heroes? Surely not referendum, but reinforcement, and quickly to our ready sons.
Dear Miss Bayman, what we are fighting here is a holy war against the very Prince of Darkness, and therefore every man owes it to God to support conscription. And if there is any man out there who says his conscience won't allow him to slay his fellow man, then he's laying down too strict a rule for his conscience.
That is not God's plan. I believe that God is democracy, the only true democracy. He filled the world with human beings, no two of whom are alike. And I'm sure he meant them to be left free to develop their differences and to report on life as they see it. War has never been in God's plan, Lord of Peace. Only that of man.
Dear Miss Know-it-all, there shall be wars, and there shall be rumors of war, but the end is not yet. Do not go taking the Lord's name in vain and putting your half-cooked ideas on him. You used to be all right when you talked about votes for women, but you're a disgrace to the female race when you go on about peace.
Anyone who talks like that is a traitor and probably has foreign friends. My husband told me to say it. He's proud of his country and proud to fight for it. And if you don't keep your mouth shut, you might find someone who will shut it for you.
This is a threat. Who wrote this?
Would you sign a letter with that?
This has got to stop. You've gone too far.
I've gone too far?
When it gets to the point that people are sending you hate mail like this, yes. People who write letters like this are unbalanced. You could get hurt, Francis.
It was you who told me that if I believe in something, I should have the courage to write about it.
This is different. The war is making people crazy. A man was beaten nearly to death at an anti-conscription rally last night. These are dangerous times. Where are you going?
To a meeting.
What meeting?
A women's meeting, McNair, at the library. Mrs. McClung is giving a talk, and I'd like to hear what she has to say.
I'll walk you there.
The Wartime Elections Act has just given us Dominion women the vote, and I think we should use it to vote for conscription. Yesterday, I received a letter from my son in France asking when we're going to send more troops. He says they're holding on as best they can, but they're getting weaker. Are we backing our boys or not? 1,000 voices chat for reasons for delay, but across the seas comes one voice, loud and clear. Who calls Canada? Our boys are calling us. Tonight is the beginning of the federal election campaign, and the issue is conscription. Now is our chance to work for the candidates who are going to help our boys. We've got no time to lose. The more women we can get out, the better.
I have a question.
We don't have much
I
time.
won't be long. How can our boys be fighting for freedom when we are not giving them the freedom to choose whether or not they'll give their lives?
That's not an easy question to answer. I've struggled with it in my heart, but sometimes individual freedom has to be sacrificed for collective freedom. Peace can only be achieved when we band together and let the enemy know we will not budge. We have a lot of work to do.
How can peace be achieved? How can we be any nearer to peace when a lot more lives are being sacrificed?
I think you're trying to be disruptive, Miss Baden. Your views on the war are well known. I don't know whether there's
Please, I'd like to make just one suggestion. Why don't we tell the politicians that we women, the wives and mothers and sisters of Canada, want to bring this war to a peaceful conclusion right now, before any more blood is shed?
If there aren't any more questions, we should get down to forming committees.
Can I talk for a minute? Just a minute, please. The real issue of this war is not conscription or the war over there. The real issue is being fought right here, in halls like these. The real issue is whether militarism shall grow and prosper, or whether it shall decline and fall. We, women, in our first chance to use our franchise, are being asked to vote for war. To vote for sending away more husbands and more sons to fight and be killed. Let's use our vote to say no to war. And let's not exclude our sisters because they speak another language.
Shut up! You just shut up! You don't know what you're talking about. You have nothing to lose. Just get out of here. Get out!
Please, can we have order? Miss Baden, I believe you have your answer. Now, let's get down to business.
I just received a call from the censorship board. Those scoundrels told me not to write anything about the conscription bill which might arouse opposition.
Sit down, Francis.
Since when have British citizens relinquished the right to discuss unmade legislation?
Sit down, Francis.
Is this Canada or is it Prussia? Has everyone gone war mad?
Sit down!
Francis.
I want to talk to you. I've been getting calls all week from readers about you. One woman said she'd seen you handing out anti-war pamphlets at Port de Domaine on 2 occasions, and that you were haranguing Patrick Buck.
I was not haranguing them. I was trying to engage them in conversation.
The publisher called me a while ago. He's running for Parliament on the conscription issue. He wants your resignation. I told him I would talk to you.
He wants me to resign from my job?
Yes.
No, he can't get away with that. We can get my readers to back you.
Francis, your readers haven't been very supportive lately. Or haven't you noticed?
What about you?
Don't you ever get tired of growing upstream?
McNair, what about you? The paper has a role to play in presenting all sides of the war issue. We have to get people thinking, really questioning.
The issue has already been discussed to death. Borden has granted the Empire women the vote, and they're going to use it to ram conscription down our throats.
No.
Yes. And there's nothing you can do about it, or should do about it.
So you simply suspend freedom of the press, freedom to express opinion.
Nobody gives a damn about your opinions, or my opinions either. We just have to win the war, and then you can hold any damned opinion you like. Just swallow hard and hold on.
Do you want me to resign?
Yes. No. I don't have any choice. Francis, wait. Look at me. Will you look at me? You've got lines on your face now that don't go away when you stop smiling. I can see a hint of gray in your hair along the temples. You're not a young girl anymore. Francis, I love you. I want to marry you. I want to take care of you. I want you to stop worrying about things you can't change. Just let me take care of you now. Don't
say anything, just let me finish. I've saved enough money to buy a house. You can leave the paper. You won't have to put up with any more abusive letters. You won't have to turn yourself inside out with issues. I know how it tortures you. Just let it all go.
McNair, I love my work.
I know you do, Francis. But I'm asking you to marry me. You can forget about everything else.
Hold it here suddenly. You said to me once that I was like a bird, struggling to get free, though it loved the warmth of your hand. I love you, McNair. I love your warmth. I can't do what you want. It would be too much. Like a closed hand, and I'd always be struggling to get free. Do you understand?
Every once in a while, one comes to a parting of the ways. I have come to that today. It is with deep feelings of regret that I am severing my connection with the Rural Review. I had hoped that through this page, we women of the prairies could help advance the cause of women, and I believe in some small ways we have done that. It would have been a much bigger thing if we could have claimed to have erased tyranny and war and intolerance. I now think that that is a work to be measured in generations. But someday, when we who are here now are dead and gone, and the little acorns that were planted on our graves have grown into flourishing trees and fallen into decay, it will come to be recognized that there is no crime in being different, in doing one's own thinking. It may even be in that dim and shadowy future, the world will have sense enough to value peace, and we will be able to live free of the fear of war. This, in the end, is the only thing that really matters. By the time this reaches print, I will have left for the mecca of all writers on this continent, the city of New York. There I will continue to work towards that future. One can only follow the gleam as one sees it, and hope that it does not prove to be a will-o'-the-wisp. And that is all.